Okay, this is going to be some real basics on economics. If you've taken consumer ed or senior survey, some of this hopefully sounds familiar, especially if you had me for consumer ed. Um, but it's important that as any business owner should, and definitely any successful entrepreneur should, be able to understand basic economic principles and just to know a little bit about the economic system we have here in our country. So we're just going to briefly go through some of the basic points. Okay, and the first one is scarcity. Okay, so the whole reason we have to have an economic system is because of this concept, and that just simply means that there's not enough of everything to go around. So countries have to have an economic system to handle this. Okay, so that's why we have money. There's only a limited supply of money, and the more money you have, the more money you can spend. There's only so many natural resources to make things. There's only so much land to build things on. So there's only so much to go around. But unfortunately, people want everything. So we have to have a system to balance out things that people want with how much they can have. So that hopefully isn't too confusing, but is why we have an economic system. Okay, so our system in the United States is usually called a free enterprise system. Okay, so well, basically what that means is you're allowed to do basically whatever you want within reason. People, meaning us or citizens, we have certain very important economic rights and economic freedoms that some countries don't have, or they don't have as many of. For instance, we decide what products or services we're going to buy, where we spend our money, what products we like, what products we don't like. All right, we decide whether or not we want to own private property, and we have the right to buy private property. Okay, in some countries you can't. So we have the right to own private property, which would be ours. We certainly have the right to start a business. Okay, as long as it's legal, of course, and there are some rules about that, about certain businesses that have to be in certain places. But for the most part, you're free to start whatever business you want. And the government really only gets involved, and this is probably the most important part of this whole deal here, is the government only gets involved when it has to, and it's usually just to keep things safe for consumers, meaning us as customers, and to keep the playing field fair for business owners. Okay, so as consumers, we need to make sure that everybody in the United States that sells gas doesn't get together and decide to charge $22 a gallon. Okay, that would be illegal, and that's why we have a picture of the Sherman Antitrust Act, because that's a law that makes price fixing illegal. Okay, so that would not be fair to us. As well as if you tried to start a business opening up a gas station, in Schaumburg or Hoffman somewhere, and all the other gas stations got together and prevented you from doing that. They, for whatever reason, found oil or gasoline suppliers and told them not to sell to you. They, for whatever reason, prevented you from starting a business because they didn't want you to compete with them. Okay, that's illegal. So you can't do that. So government gets involved to make sure that we have fair competition in the marketplace for businesses. Okay, and then we have things like the Environmental Protection Agency that make sure that businesses aren't dumping chemicals in the ground, not polluting the air, following certain rules and laws about handling food and preparing food. So we do have government involvement in business, but for the most part, you're free to do just about whatever you want. Okay, which is exactly what an entrepreneur wants. Okay, because in a free enterprise system, 99% of the time, the incentive or the motive to start a business is to make money, okay, and to make a profit. Okay, so that's important to understand that word. A profit is what you have over and above money you spend. Okay, so a good entrepreneur recognizes that. Now, we did talk about some businesses are started as a non-for-profit, and we talked about the Red Cross or the United Way or a lot of charity organizations, so don't get the two confused there, but most businesses operate to make a profit. Okay, and in our country, the market or consumers or customers will tell you if your business is good or not. If your business is good and your product's good, your service is good, someone's going to buy it and you do well. If not, you lose. It's really that simple. Okay, the government isn't going to protect you and no one's going to help you out. You know, if you got a good product, you're going to survive. If you don't, you're not. Okay, and that's the free market system. That's free enterprise. Okay, so what a good entrepreneur is going to do, and hopefully some of you do this, is try to figure out, what does the market want? What are the needs and wants of consumers? Okay, what products and services do people want to buy? What is there a demand for? And demand is something we're going to talk about here in a minute. Okay, so you find what people want or need, and then you develop a product or a service to meet those needs. Okay, there's a great quote in the Pirates of Silicon Valley movie about Bill Gates and Steve Jobs, and I think it's Bill Gates that says, you know, the trick to being successful at business is to make people think they need you or need something you have, and then to give it to them, and then make them think you're the only one that has it. Okay, so he followed that route with computers and software. So it's a pretty universal concept. Okay, tell people they have a problem or find what they want, and then solve the problem or give them what they think they want or need. Okay, and that's the profit motive. Not too complicated. Okay, so we talked about supply and demand. So this is a pretty easy concept here. We already kind of talked about entrepreneurs or successful ones meet the needs of the market. So they supply what people demand. Okay, so that need is, like I said, the need is called demand. So is there demand for a product? Is there a demand for the service? Meaning, do people want it? Okay, and then businesses try to supply what is demanded. Okay, and this has a huge effect on prices that you can charge for things. Okay, as well as whether or not you stay in business. But we have a picture there of a store the day that I think it was the iPhone 3 went on sale, and people crashed through the doors. Okay, so it was just in huge demand. So they were able to charge quite a bit. And then you see the other picture there, and this is just from, I think, 3 days ago, that the new iPhone 5, people that were able to pre-order them online, they sold 2 million of these things in 24 hours. So it's 2 million iPhones. So what's an iPhone 5? I think they cost minimum $200, if not more than that. They sold 2 million of those in one day. So do the math. 2 million times 200. Okay, it's mind-blowing how much money Apple's making because they're meeting the demand for iPhones, and no one's able to catch up yet. Some people are trying, but they're not there yet. All right, but if something changes, so for some reason somebody creates the next greatest thing and we forget about iPhones, so the demand for iPhone goes way down, then the price is going to come down. Okay, so supply and demand kind of go hand in hand. Okay, there's be like the comparison of, I don't know, let's pick a Maroon 5. I don't know, maybe you guys will listen to them. Suppose they had a concert here in Chicago. If they held the concert in our gymnasium, only 2,000 people could go. So the tickets would be really expensive because that would be a high in demand concert and a low supply of tickets. So we would be able to charge, I don't know, probably $500 a ticket, and I guarantee I could find 2,000 people in the Chicagoland area that would pay $500 to see Maroon 5 in a high school gym. Okay, but what if we held the same concert downtown at Grant Park and 1 million people could go? Because 1 million people can fit in Grant Park. So now all of a sudden the supply of tickets is up to 1 million. All right, and we're not going to be able to charge very much because there's a huge supply of tickets, and the demand for the concert kind of stayed the same. Okay, so that's a little bit about supply and demand, but it's just important to remember that to be successful, you need to find out what people want and then supply it for them. Okay, so that's kind of it. All right, that's a 10-minute, not even crash course in scarcity, free enterprise, the profit motive, and supply and demand. So there's a quiz that goes along with that. So get back to the Schoology page, find the quiz, and be sure to complete that.